just their approach to kids, it's so welcoming, so inclusive. And what they've done for my son is to really create the best environment for him to learn, where he feels confident and he feels supported and appreciated for who he is. And
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
um, well, I started looking for a school at the end of last school year. My eldest child was in grade 1 in public school, our local public school. And it was becoming more and more obvious, especially during the pandemic, that he was going to need a different environment, one that was more supportive for him, for his needs. And so I started researching on the internet, and then realized that I really wanted better data to help me make a decision. So I actually employed a educational consultant who was an expert in all the different schools in Toronto and working with children with different needs. And she recommended 2 schools to me, with this one at the top of the list. Well, it was amazing the way that they integrated my son. So I knew that he would have some challenges with transition and change. And so they were amazing to us over the summer. They said you can come as many times as you want during the summer. The week before school started, we had 2 meetings. So one, I went in and met with the principal, the occupational therapist, and his teacher, just to speak really openly about my son's needs. And then the following day, my son came into school for a one-on-one meeting with his teacher. The principal was there, took him for another tour of the school. And then they had another day, the first day of school. You can actually bring your parent in with you, and it's just an hour. So everybody's in the classroom together. So their transition was amazing. And so it went really, really smoothly for my son, who typically wouldn't do all the change. It's occupational therapy. So in the school, they have this huge basement, way bigger than you'd think it would be from, looking at the school from the outside. And there's this huge gym, and there's also a occupational therapy gym where they have, picture like a whole bunch of big gymnastics mats and hammocks and all of these sensory and physical tools. And they have an occupational therapist on site, and she works directly with many of the kids. And so my son goes once a week, and it's his absolute favorite thing in the world. He also goes with a peer, and they switch up the peers to help develop peer social skills. And they plan in advance what they're going to do on their OT day, and they pretend that, they make a fort and they pretend it's a pirate ship. And he absolutely loves it. I so much. It's the level of support that they have it's a small school, which is amazing. I wasn't necessarily looking for a small school, but I really see the value in it. So the principal and the 2 top administrators, they greet us every day at the car drop-off line. So they open the door, and they know all the kids. So I'm not saying my son's name here, but they open the door and they say, "Hi," and they say his name, and they welcome him into the school. Um, just their approach to kids, it's so welcoming, so inclusive. And what they've done for my son is to really create the best environment for him to learn, where he feels confident and he feels supported and appreciated for who he is. And I'm astounded how different that is from his experience in public school. They really just exceeded my expectations. I remember when I was considering doing this, and it was a big change because, we used to be able to walk him to school in the mornings. And so I was really nervous about that. And of course, he had made friends at his current school. And I was speaking to a neighbor who also had a child who had needs that weren't being met at public school. And I was like, oh, I don't know, is this the right decision? And she said to me, she said, you will do this and you will never look back, and it'll be hard to remember even how difficult it was before you made this change. And I was like, wow, really? I hope so. And that's exactly what happened. So I would say they really exceeded my expectations, and like we would make this decision again 1,000 times. Inclusion is the first word that comes to my mind. It's really every child is valued for who they are. When it comes time for report card, they really know my son. They're so supportive of all the things that he is strong at, and they understand his, what may show up as challenges to teachers who are used to a very mainstream school. They don't really see them as challenges. And that comes across to him too. I think, it's certainly kids pick up on a lot. And if their teacher is disappointed in them or feels that their behavior isn't expected, I think they really internalize that. And my son just feels so supported there, and it's really increased his confidence. And again, I think it's because they're just so inclusive and supportive. Yeah. I think no. I think there's not a typical family. And because again, I was used to walking my kid to school with the parents in the neighborhood. And then after school, we would hang around at the playground. So I get to know them all that way. So you just have to make an effort to do that. And so with my son's first year, I invited all of the parents and all the kids over for a Halloween party in my backyard, so all the families could get to know each other. And we started a WhatsApp group for his class, so all the parents, we can say like, what? I don't understand the French homework, or, so and so came home with the wrong snow pants, or, inviting each other to birthday parties. So we've just made an effort to form the community outside of being able to see each other and drop off. And especially with COVID, that's made that more difficult. He's very shy. And I think just like his teachers tell me he's a leader in the classroom, which was not his experience before. And they do so many amazing things. Like they give them, like, they have a different job every week. They really build in each of these kids a lot of self-esteem. So, I mean, my son wouldn't have the words to describe that. He wouldn't describe it that way. But like I would say, yesterday he's doesn't feel the strongest with his reading, and he never has. And yesterday he took a book to school and he asked his teacher if he could read it to the class. And when I picked him up from school, he was telling me, that he read this book to the class, and I said, oh, how did that come about? He said, oh, I asked if I could, which is so unusual for a shy kid to do that. But he knows that he's supported there. And so he read the book and he said they all loved it. So, the whole class is supportive. Certainly, setting the tone from the teachers. I can't believe how different it is in terms of how responsive they are, and just the communication is unbelievable. And I understand why, it's a small school and they know everybody, but just so invested in our experience as a family and my child's experience at the school, and very open lines of communication at all times. And really, they have the flexibility to do things. Like my son is has a natural ability with math, and so I'd asked if he could spend some time in the older grades class, so because he was getting bored with the math at the current level. And they said, sure. And so, he just recently started going to the older grades class for math. So they really allow the kids to flex in and up, and they're open to creative ideas. They've got so many reasons. I think, like, again, I have to say that use the word inclusive. They're so inclusive. They're really well trained, and they're just going to meet your child where they are and make them feel good about themselves and give them the best environment to be successful. And it feels like it is a strong community. I feel personally really invested in the school, and I have a great relationship with the leadership at the school, all of the teachers that my son interacts with. So I just have so much faith in their ability to give my son the education experience that he needs, and it's just such a warm and welcoming environment. Yeah, I tell everybody to use an educational consultant, and it's a little bit of an investment upfront, but to me, I felt really comfortable knowing that this person that I spoke to, who came highly recommended to me, had knows all the schools really well. She had placed a lot of kids in schools and gotten feedback from the parents on whether that was the right fit or not. So she just knew way more information than I could ever gain simply from the internet. So I recommend people to do that quite often.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.